So I know you just finished your hard news story and it feels like you have no time to breathe. You're right into the next assignment. Again, having an 8-week course, I usually like to give that 1 week window because I know you work so hard on the other story. We don't have that luxury. So the good thing is you got your momentum behind you, right? The wind is at your back. You just did that last story. You're ready for another one. So let's talk about what you're going to be doing this week. You're going to read the chapter about feature stories. They broadly, I think they mention it, they call it a feature story. That's kind of like the broad term for narrative writing, profiles, and that's actually what you're going to be doing. You're going to be doing a profile story, which is a specific kind of a feature story. So you're going to be writing a profile story. Profile story and features in general are different than hard news. So this is where you have a little bit more, I don't want to say flexibility or creativity, but you don't have to follow that really hard standard journalistic style of lead with the who, what, when, where, why, a nut graph right after that, a quote. It doesn't have to be so formatted for your profile stories, and you're going to learn about that when you read the chapter this week. I would also encourage you to go back to the chapter on leads and read other kind of leads that you can use for a profile story, so you don't have to do the hard profile lead, or I'm sorry, the hard news lead, a summary lead. You don't have to do that in a profile piece. So I would go back and read that too. It touches a little bit about that in the chapter this week, but just to really reinforce it and see some other examples, I'd go back in the book for that too. So let's talk about your actual assignment. And this might make more sense after you've read the chapter, so you might want to do that and then come back to this video, or watch this video first, read the chapter, and then come back again to really understand it. You're going to write a profile story. So that's about a person. You're going to write about an interesting person. But look what I have here. It cannot be a family member or friend. Obviously, this is hard for me to know for sure. If you have a different last name, or you can say that you don't know this person and you do, so I can't enforce it for sure. But let me tell you why I'd rather you not get a family member or friend. For one, remember, being a journalist, you have to be objective. And just by really knowing this person well, it makes you subjective. You are going to naturally, you're not going to maybe ask some tougher questions. You might assume things because you think you know something, because you think you know them. They might not feel free to open up to you on certain questions. Whatever the case is, it's just a little, you want to go in there being completely objective, having no pre notions. So that's why I'd rather you try to go outside your box. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go up and find a random person on the street. It can be an acquaintance, which I have over here. It can be an acquaintance, or it could be someone that you don't know. But, maybe it is, I'm just giving an example because we're in school right now, another professor. You've had a professor for some classes, you know the professor, but, you don't go out for beers with them, so you don't know him that well. That would be fine. It could be, I don't know, a coach of your kids' team. It could be, I'm trying to think of examples off the top of my head here. It could be maybe some, I had a student do once, someone they got coffee from every morning at the gas station. They stopped in and interviewed the person. So they talked to that person every morning, hey, how are you? Nice weather. But they didn't really get to know that person. So they did a profile on that person. Or you could, if you're really ambitious, you could go find just a random person somewhere, or a connection, somebody that you know from somebody that doesn't know you, but you know that they're interesting because they're your friend's friend. So you decide to do a profile on them. I want you to go out a little outside your comfort zone on this one. So go outside your comfort zone, just like you did with the hard news story. Go outside your comfort zone and do a really interesting piece. So again, I can't enforce, I don't know for sure if it's a family member or friend, but for you, I'm just telling you, you're going to come up with a better story, and I think you'll find it even more rewarding if you do it this way. Just like the last one, it should be in a Word document or a similar program. Do not write it directly on Blackboard or send it to me as a PDF, because I can't give you feedback then on it. Your story must not use reporting from other stories or direct language from other stories. So maybe this is an interesting person that has had other journalistic stories written on them. You can't use that language. Don't use their reporting. You have to have at least, and here's a little bit different from the other one, 4 direct quotes that you obtain. So you're interviewing this person. You're going to be talking to them a lot. You have to have 4 direct quotes from them in your story. It could be a little bit more, but at least 4. Has to be between 650 and 750 words, a little bit longer than your last one. Same thing, short paragraphs, 1 to 3 sentences, 5 at the most. And it has to be written in third person. And this one might throw some of you off. Third person means you cannot, as the writer, use I. So you cannot say, when I interviewed so-and-so, they said this. After I spoke with blah, blah, blah. Remember, you are not part of the story. You are you're the narrator. You're not the main character. So there should be no I in there. It's all written in third person. If you're still a little fuzzy on third person, first person, second person, go online and look it up. You can read a bunch about it, but third person there should be no I, we, are. That's all first person. All right, so what am I grading this on? How well defined the focus is. So do I see, do I see what the story is about? Is it clearly defined within the story? And that kind of goes along with this next one too. How well is the theme presented throughout the story? Again, all of this is going to be in your chapter this week. So if you haven't read the chapter yet, this will make a little bit more sense after you read the chapter, and you can rewatch this video. But how well is the theme presented throughout the story? So you're going to read in the chapter about what a theme is. It should be interwoven throughout the story, and I should be able to see that. If background information is presented strategically. So there's the main focus of what the point of the story is, the theme, the overall theme that we have going throughout the story. And then there's that other information that's good to know, but it's not crucial to the focus or the theme. Well, that background information, though, should be in there, and it should be placed in strategic places. It should not be in the way beginning, and it should not be at the absolute bottom. It's going to get sprinkled in there. That's going to be what I'm looking for. Just like your hard news story, is the writing clear, concise, and informative? Am I learning something? Is it clear? Is it, I can tell that you edited it, and it's not, just rambling on? That's the kind of stuff I'm looking for. Quality of quotes, the information you got from your interview. You're going to interview this person for, a fair amount of time. I'm going to look at the kind of quotes that you get. Did you just get quotes that you could have just written out, or did you get quotes that were like spices to the story? They really brought something to the story, brought some value to your story. Really interesting quotes. Did you strategically place them? Did you use them well? That's the kind of stuff I'm looking for. How well the goal method was used. You're going to learn that in your chapter this week. Goal. So read about that in the chapter, and I want to see that you try to apply it to some degree. If turning points were addressed, again, that's in your chapter. When you find that, take note, because that's what I'm going to be looking for. Did you maybe try to address were there any turning points? AP style. It's back. I'm going to be looking for AP style, and this time I'm going to be grading much stricter. If I see you kept making simple mistakes, especially things that were on the quizzes that I corrected, or, the feedback that I gave you from your hard news story with AP mistakes, I'm going to hit you harder on that one. So AP style, it's got to be, you have to spend the time. It's going to take you time. Spend extra time to edit for that. How well the lessons from the chapters before are being applied, or from the chapters being applied. Actually, before too, all the chapters. So are you applying the lessons that we've been learning? It's a no-brainer. And again, the other no-brainer, if it is free of spelling and grammar issues. So these are all going to be part of it. So you can see this is building off of the last assignment. Some new things in here. It's written a little differently, but the fundamentals are all there. And that's why I said take the feedback that I gave you from the hard news story, because a lot of that feedback that I give you is going to be able to be applied to this and make your writing that much better. As always, any questions, concerns, confusion, you want to just bounce an idea, I want to interview this person, do you think it's a good person for me to interview? Let me know. You don't have to message me to let me know who you're going to be interviewing or whom you're going to be interviewing. Unless, like I just said, you're just not sure about something and you want to get some feedback, some ideas from me, then please go ahead. Otherwise, I'm giving you free reign. Really interested. I love reading these pieces. I really get interested to see who students pick. So really excited to read them. Any questions, though, let me know. But this will be due. Oh, I should let you know this again. It's due in 2 weeks, just like the last one. So this week should really be you. If it was me, if I was writing this, what I would do this week is finding the person, coordinating a schedule to either call them or meet them in person, because that sometimes is difficult, matching up times. I would try to be able, if the schedules work, I would try to get the interview done this week. So next week, I can just focus on writing the story and editing the story, because editing is going to take you a while. You have to edit for AP style, grammar and errors, to make sure that your background information is woven throughout. Is your theme there? Do you have a good focus? So it's going to take you some time to edit. So in a perfect world, this week to do the interview, get all your notes, maybe get an outline of your story, next week to write it. That's a perfect world, but you got 2 weeks to do it however you're able to do it. So hopefully you can manage your time. All right, any questions, let me know, but really looking forward to seeing this in a couple weeks.